Hello again. Right, this is my mill deck. As you can see, it's blue-black, and basically I built this deck a long time ago, and as you can see, it's got quite some variety in it, but similar to the vampire deck I did last week, I wanted to see if there's something come missing, or see if you've come up with a few ideas to see if maybe it can be improved. I really enjoy playing this. As I said, it is quite funny to mill through your friends or opponent's library relatively quickly. So straight away I'll start off with creatures. Hedron Crab, 1 blue mana, really cheap. 0/2, so it's going to stop turn 1, turn 2 creatures, but you're probably not going to block with it. But texts has landfall. So whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into her graveyard. So this is a really, really cheap spell that's going to keep giving you land, keep dropping 3. Don't forget, they're going to draw 7 from the start of the game. They're going to start the game with 53 cards. So you're going to get through their cards quicker than most of the spells get played. It's a good combination. Second creature, again a 1-drop. It is Triton Shorestalker. It's a 1/1. It can't be blocked. Sounds pretty wise in the deck, but paired with Paranoid Delusions, the target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into her graveyard or his graveyard. You can cipher, which basically means you exile the spell, but you attach it to one of these creatures. So you attach it to the Shorestalker. And basically, every time it delivers damage, combat damage to the player, you then activate the spell again. This can't be blocked, so you're just going to keep doing 1 damage, which is not what we're trying to achieve, but you're just going to hit the 3. So in 1 turn, you could foreseeably play a land and deliver 1 damage, and you're going to be burning 6. They're going to be burning 6 cards for free. And that's a really good mechanic that I love doing. I get it quite often in this format, but as again, you're not going to be blocking with these because they're going to get 3 hits on you. So it's back and forward. Now, what normally gives you the edge, just getting the light there, is Jace's Phantasm. Again, 1 blue mana, 1/1 flyer, but as you can see, you're going to get this pretty quick. Jace's Phantasm gets +4/+4 as long as an opponent has 10 or more cards in his or her graveyard. That becomes a 5/5 really quick. If you're not drawing mill cards, then this is going to be blocking and attacking, and it's very difficult to get rid of. So that's my 3 creatures. It's mainly spells that keep me in this game. So draw your 7 cards. Unfortunately, you've played all the spells you can. They've still got a library in front of you. 1 black, 1 blue, 1 generic. Target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. You can draw 2 cards. So sticks with the mill mechanic, and you draw a card. There's a nice little number that comes in with it. We have Mind Funeral. Again, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 generic. Target opponent reveals cards from the top of his or her library until 4 land cards are revealed. So they've got a good shuffle, they've got a good land base. You're going to get 2 cards to every land. So 8 cards, maybe if you're lucky, maybe up to 12. I've got 3 of them in there. Whenever I play this, they normally counter this spell because they need land or some variety. I really like this card, this is why it's in it. Let me know what you think. Professional player playset of these, I'm not sure. We've gone over Paranoid Delusions. It works with all these cards, don't it? But Hedron Crab won't deliver any damage, so these 2 cards are the best to do it with. Next up is Breaking, not the entering part, but basically target player puts the top 8 cards of his or her library. You can do this on turn 2. So they've drawn 7, sure go, you play second land, you hit them for 8. Then they draw a card on their turn that you're just going to get through half that deck really, really quickly. And then there's the bigger version, Glimpse the Unthinkable, for 2 mana on turn 2. If you've got this in your starting hand, it's a perfect start. Target player puts the top 10 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. It's a brilliant card, and it is the whole point in Mill. Combined properly with a combination of these cards, and the reason why these are 1-drops, I can foreseeably play a Hedron Crab, Paranoid Delusion, and let's say a Glimpse Unthinkable on turn 4 or 5. Brain Freeze. 1 blue, 1 generic. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. You then have Storm. When you play this spell, copy it for each spell played before it. You may choose new targets. So basically, you're hitting 3, 10. Any combination of these, you're going to get another 3 spells. So you don't just play this, it's going to be 10, 3, 3. So that's 16 milled for that mana. That is really, really good. And as I say, if you've played lots of 1-drops and you're playing these spells for cheaper, I often combine them knowing, well, I don't need these Shore Stalkers because I haven't got any Paranoid Delusions out. But if I was just to keep those 3 mana back, play all 3, then play Brain Freeze, then what happens? It's going to trigger that Storm ability every time you play one of those spells. So I like Brain Freeze. I did have 4 of them. I took 1 out to compat a few other cards. And the last spell in this little bit is Archive Trap. It's 5 mana, it's a lot. But if an opponent searches his or her library this turn, you may pay nothing rather than pay Archive Trap's mana cost. So basically, target opponent puts the top 13 cards of his or her library. It's a brilliant, brilliant card. But as I say, no one's searching their library. You're just waiting to pay 5 mana. It was going to be a sideboard card, but I've decided to keep 2 of them in there. That's why I've dropped a Brain Freeze and a couple of these cards here, simply so I could accommodate Archive Trap. Now, as you can see, I've got Ashiok. I traded both of these. I was really happy. One off my brother, and I think actually, it may have both been off my brother. Really like this for 3 mana for a Planeswalker. It's really good. Comes out as 3, but +2 is exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. So you're just going to get a 3 mana to burn 3 cards. It's not great. You can just keep doing that mechanic. It's going to work. But the X text second option is put a creature card with the converted mana cost X, exile with Ashiok, onto the battlefield under your control. That creature is a nightmare in addition to other types. So foreseeably, you've got to try and do this one first to get it at 5. You might want a -4 to get a creature with that mana out onto your side. That's pretty good. You're going to siphon their library and get cards if you see one you like, which is really good. Especially if you've been milling all the way around here and they've got very few cards in their library. They're going to want to keep their creatures to them. The bottom text is exile all cards from all opponents' hands and graveyards. So once you've exiled them, then you can, if it's still alive, you can then start paying the mana to get those creatures back into your deck. So like Ashiok, if I had more, I'd put them in there. If you get it out nice and early, it's just a cheap play to burn 3. So that's spells that you need to keep getting in a mill deck. If you don't start with a combination of at least Break-In, Glimpse Unthinkable, and Paranoid Delusions, then you have to mulligan. So it's one of those decks that when you get it, it's brilliant. You just constantly mill them, and they don't seem to draw the cards. But when you don't, and you just hold on to one of these creatures and you just hope for the best, it can be a very quick game, and you will be on the end of losing that. Now, I have here is 3, in my opinion, win conditions. I'm playing a hell of a lot of sorcery and instances, but by turn 4, which is going to need to get this one out, you've probably done most of your damage. You may need to hang on. As I mentioned, you might not have the ability to hang on if you've stopped drawing and they're still there. Every time you played an instant, you would have got a 2/2 Drake just to block. I mean, this is probably going to get targeted pretty quick. It's not like my vampire deck where I didn't care if they targeted these. I really need these to stay about. And they know they can't counter all these. They're just hoping I don't draw them every turn. So Talrand's a good card, solid. I wish it was 1 cheaper, really, but it is a good card, and that's why it's in here. I then have Phenax, I think it's called, God of Deception. It's quite a high cost, Again, you're probably not going to play. This is for late game if you're still struggling to draw those cards. It's a 4/7, indestructible. It has the devotion to blue, I think 7, yep. But creatures you control have tap, target player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, where X is the target creature's toughness. Now what's going to be with this, then I realised if you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe one of these, you might be a creature for me to tap it, and hit him with 7. And then kind of thinking about it, the devotion was never going to be that high, but it was really just for this. If it was going to be a 5/5, I could tap it and then hit him for 5 at a late game stage. So I like the card, I love the picture, it's awesome. But it might stay in there, it might not. I've got a sideboard which I might show in a second what I've got. But those two were, I need some sort of edge to this deck because it is just burn. You know, hopefully they'll stay alive. then mill them again, and hopefully they'll stay alive. If you're playing a red deck, they're just like dead, dead, dead. So you're gonna have to be careful what decks you play and what combination you start with. So these may keep me in it late on. Now the ultimate mill deck, Grindstone, has to be in there. 1 mana. Basically, pay 3 mana. You then tap it. Put the top 2 cards of target player's library into the player's graveyard. Sounds a bit meh, but if both cards share at least one colour, repeat this process. So take, for example, I turn this card over, and it's the opponent's deck. I have a black-blue. Then I turn this card over, and it's a black-blue. So then you've burnt those 2 cards, and then you do it again. Now, if you're just playing a mono-coloured deck, you've just won. You tap that for 3 mana, that just won you the game. That is the ultimate win condition. You tap it, you win. There's no complex behind it. Got land, black, 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 black. Just mills the whole deck, you win. Same for any other colour. If it's multicoloured like this, and like what I've done there, I share all the same colours, so you're going to survive one turn of it. But Grindstone is a horrible card. I've actually got 2 of these, and one of them's in my EDH commander deck, which probably aren't allowed to play, but as a casual player, we'll play those types of cards because we just enjoy playing them. I'm not sure on mana curves. I've got basically 50-50, a few polluted deltas in there. So land base is pretty straightforward, there's no complicated mana in there. And that's basically it. So very cheap creatures, simply because they all have features that allow me to utilise once I've milled or going to mill, and they combine with Brain Freeze. I have the ability to just hit some for 13 for no cost, providing it meets requirements, and I have a variety of spells that will just burn through the opponent's library. As I say, red decks, they just basically destroy straight away, but at best they're going to have a few lightning strikes. So you've got 12 creatures here, you're going to keep some of them about. As I say, these two, a bit too high costing for this deck. It's quite a fast deck, but I absolutely love playing this style. So let me know what you think. As I say, I haven't had that game with the vampire versus whoever yet, but this is another one I want to test. So yeah, leave your comments. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate it. Thank you.